Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. My next guest, Declan Barrett from UrbanVolt, has built a globally successful business based on the ever-increasing green conscience of big corporates. Declan, you are the Chief Commercial Officer of UrbanVolt, a company which has experienced significant success in international markets. But how did you and your co-founders, Kevin Maughan and Graham Dean, develop the idea for UrbanVolt?
Well, it happened that the three of us were exiting our existing business at the time. I had just sold my business as the guys had also. And we're quite close to the environment. And obviously, as things speed up in the climate crisis, we wanted to make some sort of significant change while we're still on the earth.
So essentially, what is UrbanVolt and how does it work?
UrbanVolt is a company that we developed and created a model called Light as a Service, whereby we purchase lighting equipment, and what we do is that we pay for the lighting equipment, we pay for the installation in large companies, we take all the capital cost. We create significant savings overnight for them companies, and we make it profitable for them to do it. And then they pay us a service fee for a minimum period of 5 years. Typically, the service fee will be well less of the savings that we've created.
How are you funding the upfront cost of the relevant equipment and installation?
We fund it via pension funds, European and US pension funds. So energy efficiency funds invest in our portfolios of business when we create them. A lot of what we do on that back end is the secret sauce, but it ensures that as we write a lot of business, these funds will invest in the portfolios and they recapitalize us sort of on a monthly basis so we can go again and we never run out of money.
And what is the process behind that agreement and that relationship with the pension funds?
Well, the process is that we create portfolios of business, typically €1 million chunks of business. We'll securitize them portfolios, we insure them. That makes them high-grade investment portfolios of business, which pension funds are happy to invest into, which will generally give them a better return than they used to.
So is there a strict criteria on the types of business then that you'll work with?
Yeah, we've got a number of boxes that we must tick in order to take on companies, but we generally know what that criteria will be before we take it on. Our contract agreement with these funds is that, it's guaranteed offtake. So once we tick this box, they must take the contracts that we give them.
Talk to me about your client portfolio.
Well, our client portfolio is that, first of all, we wanted to focus on businesses. Consumers do a lot in the marketplace right now. They've become very adept at recycling. They're buying expensive electric cars. They're changing their boilers, but CO2 still continues to rise. So we decided our focus should be on businesses. And within that then, we decided, well, let's target the largest energy users in the world. So we've targeted world leaders because we believe if world leaders make the change, then others will follow, pretty quickly afterwards. So we're in business with the likes of Heineken, Pfizer, CRH, Zimmer Biomet, Ardagh Group, Syncreon, to name but a few. And, we're looking at their overall portfolios of business.
And on the topic of big business, UrbanVolt, I believe, secured 2 contracts with Fortune 500 companies in the US. What was involved in securing contracts with companies of that magnitude?
The climate crisis is now becoming a climate emergency. So a lot of these companies have been trying to do the right thing. But the difficulty that they have is because they're in so many territories operating in different currencies, it's not about doing the right thing. It's about who can they call to actually, initiate a rollout program. So when we talk to these companies, we talk to them about the difficulties of, their procurement processes. We deal with one company who's got 3,000 sites. And the difficulty for them is, their typical procurement, if they do try and get 3 prices for each of them sites, if they, have different legal agreements, they have non-standardization of product throughout all of their sites, it's a difficulty for them and it drives a lot of complexity into their business. So we've developed sort of software technology to work with these companies in a rollout program whereby literally in 1 week we can survey 100 sites and we can tell them what the opportunity is. And because we're the only company worldwide that can deal in multi-currency, multi-territories, it's a big advantage for these companies to deal with UrbanVolt.
So lighting as a service operates by you providing LED lighting and the cost of installation. What type of an average saving can a business achieve through this model?
It differs quite a lot. What we do is that we get paid a service fee on a monthly basis. So if we've got a 24-hour warehouse, they will create a lot more cash flow injection or stroke saving on the monthly basis than an office, say, open 9 hours a day. Our fee will be fixed for that period of time. So we're happy enough for our customers to keep the majority of the savings that are generated depending on the type of project.
And how closely do you work with utility providers?
We don't, actually. We've no relationship with utility providers. I think early on, we talked to Centrica and Bord Gáis in Ireland. We worked with them. But this is, we're a utility provider agnostic. It doesn't really matter. We're about reducing the bill that they pay to utility providers. So we may not be their favourite people at certain points in time.
Now, if you've just tuned in, I'm speaking to Declan Barrett from UrbanVolt. Declan, I would imagine that an exposure exists for UrbanVolt if the lighting has been installed and then the client goes out of business shortly after. So how do you mitigate against this risk?
Well, that's an interesting question, and it points me to a couple of things. Number one is that we own the lights for the period of the agreement, so we can take the lights back. So the financial regulatory body, IFRS, the world regulatory body this year, has said that all leases must be wrapped up onto the balance sheet, whereas we're an off-balance sheet service. We own the goods. We're fully responsible for the maintenance and performance of them goods for the duration of the agreement. And larger companies like that because they don't have to take on, heavily depreciating assets onto their own balance sheet.
And in terms of sourcing the lighting products themselves, are they all coming from China?
No. Our European companies that we deal with, the product is manufactured in Europe, and we have a US manufacturer in the US that manufactures the product in the US. Again, we're a B Corp company, so all of our sort of mission and vision is generated around saving the planet. So we're not interested in shipping container loads of lights from China or flying them in. So we get them locally produced by the market leaders in that place.
And have you any aspirations to become a public listed company in the years ahead?
Not as of yet. We're very focused on building up our portfolio of clients and working with our clients to, as I say, take them off the grid. LED lighting is the first stage where we can reduce consumption significantly. But, there are other technologies then we're talking to our customers about right now, such as, solar, battery storage, heating and cooling solutions. With our ultimate aim is that they'll have no reliance on power companies at some point in the future. So I'm not sure where that will lead us, but our focus is certainly, very, very clued in on that in the short term.
And your route to market in the US, has that been direct? Have you employed sales reps out there to go out and promote your product range?
Yes, it has. We have some sales guys in the market, but we deal with larger groups as well. So we have affinity programs with some larger groups that, may have 2,000 or 3,000 warehouses in their sort of portfolio. So, and we deal with large private equity companies who invest in, multiple tens or multiple hundreds of warehouses also. So we deal at a very high level because we need to drive the will at the high level for it to be able to work at the lower level.
How competitive is this lighting as a service space in the US right now?
Believe it or not, it's not too competitive. There's probably a couple of people that have followed our route as there has in the European market. We're not afraid of competition. This market is going to need competition. To give an example, in the US and Europe it'd be quite similar. There's 13.1 billion square foot of warehousing. We won't be able to do all that. And obviously, as people kind of copy our model and follow us, it kind of validates to the market that this is the right way of doing things.
As part of your progression of UrbanVolt, you're looking at entering into the solar space. Do you see solar as a key solution to reducing the carbon footprint of commercial properties in the years ahead?
Absolutely. There's 13.1 billion square foot of warehousing in the US. That's a lot of roof space for solar. But it's very important that, that we deal with the energy efficiency side first. There's no point in producing a lot of energy just to feed big old lights. So what we want to do is we want to reduce the consumption of the building first. That means we have to produce less energy to feed that particular building. Also, as I say, in Europe, we've some warehouses. There's acres and acres of land around where we're building solar farms with them clients who just want to feed their own manufacturing process.
And in your opinion, is solar a technology that's providing effective and efficient returns for businesses?
It's getting there, probably not quite yet. We have a very simple calculation on solar is, over a period of time, how much will it cost per kilowatt hour to generate via solar versus what can somebody buy from the grid? Last year, we did some calculations that it would cost 17 cents a kilowatt hour for a particular project. That particular customer could buy it off the grid for 9 cents a kilowatt hour. That gap is closing. But again, our larger customers are not just focused on the money side. They're focused on the environmental and the corporate social responsibility side.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Declan Barrett from UrbanVolt. And I would like to thank Declan for sharing this impressive success story with us this morning.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.